After a 3-year run of unbelievable content beyond my wildest imagination, Amphibia has finally come to an end. And for the last time on this channel, I'll be breaking down the contents for Amphibia's series finale, The Hardest Thing. Apologies in advance if I start to choke up a little during my commentary for this video. It's taken a lot of energy for me to keep it together at the moment, not gonna lie. Regardless, let's get this started. The Hardest Thing opens exactly where All In ended, only this time we're seeing the POV of the core helmet. It rocket boosted itself all the way to the moon, connecting itself to the top, and of course started hurtling itself towards Amphibia's planet. According to Andrias, when Amphibia's civilization was at its peak, probably right before Andrias became king, the core used the moon as a base for several pet projects / experiments, and one of those projects being the option to take control of the moon to destroy all of Amphibia. All of this just for the sake of having the stones for themselves. The core sees itself as a godlike entity and are willing to do anything to keep the stones for themselves, even if it means destroying Amphibia. Luckily, Mother Ohm shows up just in time, letting the girls know the prophecy has finally come to pass. However, the prophecy being a thing doesn't guarantee their victory. The words from it are more a request than a guarantee at winning. Plus, the girls will need to tap into damn near all the remaining energy of the stones if they want to defeat the core, which could mean the girls won't be able to get home if they choose to fight. We all know what they're gonna do though. Their resolve is unmatched. Of course they're not gonna sit by and watch Amphibia get destroyed. Those guys are family to them now. They can't sit by and let their family get wiped out. Before Anne makes her way to the Calamity Box to get started, Mother Ohm lets her know about a secret spell that will allow Anne to take command of all 3 stones at once. But it should only be used as a last resort if she wants to, if all 3 girls individually can't take down the core, because whoever uses the spell will lose their own life in the process. If she wants to use it, she simply has to just ask the stones for their help. Inside the castle, we see Valeriana has returned to help with the stone charging process. I'm so glad she's back, by the way. She's not from an ancient order of Calamity Stones College for nothing. And I cannot get over how good the 3 girls' full Calamity Power outfits look. All 3 of them look like true gladiators / Vikings. Sasha's has to be my favorite. All the spikes on her outfit combined with the tip of her ponytail looking like the edge of a flame. She could be in a Kiss cover band with that fit. Notice how when Sasha displays her powers for the first time, it comes in the shape of twin burns interlocked together, which is without a doubt a nod to her signature double heron sword she's wielded in battle since True Colors. Marcy also points out that the reason the powers feel way more intense to Anne than before is because their powers are likely stacking due to being used in tandem. So it's true that every time Anne was using her powers prior to this episode, it was never the peak potential of her stone. I had a very strong feeling that was the case, and it feels good to be right about that. When the girls reach the core, it deploys several robotic space bugs from inside the moon. All those bugs likely being experiments that Andrias referred to at the start. My god, were the action sequences here incredible. I didn't think it was possible this episode would be able to top All In terms of action scenes, but they somehow did it. The display of all 3 girls using their powers individually rocked my world. The best part was the attacks they used took aspects from their core interest and personalities, and creating a giant tennis racket and hitting a tennis ball that eventually turned into multiple versions of her cat Domino. Sasha summoning pom-poms since she was a cheerleader captain back home, along with creating a giant pink heron explosion at the end of her attack. Once again, a nod to the sword she wields in battle. Then of course, Marcy summoning a giant 20-sided die from the game Creatures and Caverns, with explosions coming in the form of not only the pin Marcy gave Andrias when she first met him, but other various weapons, which I assume to be another reference to the Creatures and Caverns game, or maybe just general fantasy weapons and stuff. The group hug they had while twirling around in space was the icing on the cake. Oh, and a guitar version of No Big Deal was playing during this entire sequence. I just can't believe how good this was. I could watch this fight for hours and never get bored. Back on the surface, Andrias is watching in awe. This angle of the castle combined with the rubble around him was also from Leaf's vision when she touched the box, in case you forgot. It's just that Andrias wasn't physically there, and neither was the view of the core in Leaf's vision. His father inside the core tries to tempt his son one last time, asking for help so he can finally join the core forever. Thank God Andrias used his robots to help the girls pushing the moon back. I would have been so pissed if he actually gave in. This is followed by Andrias finally standing up to his father once and for all by destroying the crown the core inhabited, by making an incredible callback to the episode Reunion by having Andrias say the exact same words to his dad that Anne said to Sasha. Something I should have done a long time ago, standing up to you. These 2 characters really are 2 sides of the same coin, aren't they? Also, I call BS on Andrias' dad allowing him to join the core even if he did help them. Darcy literally said in All In he can forget about joining them if the Earth invasion failed, which it did, so. Sadly, the help from Andrias' robots aren't enough to stop the core's momentum. Not only that, but Sasha and Marcy's powers begin to wear off due to the fact that their bodies aren't as used to these powers as Anne's, and that's totally understandable too, since not only is it the first time these 2 use the Calamity powers, but it's the Calamity Stone's powers at their peak individual potential. This leads to Anne making the toughest decision she's ever had to make in her life. She's going to take the chances on using the spell that gives her all the stone's power at once, telling Sasha and Marcy it's their turn to follow Anne's lead for once since she followed their leads all the time back home. Look at how far our girl has come. From loving to take the easy paths in life to to making the biggest sacrifice play if it means everyone she loves can be safe, i.e. the exact opposite of the easy path. She sends Sasha and Marcy back to the surface where they let everyone know Anne might not make it even if she beats the core. Sprig starts to freak out over this fact, demanding Frobo take him to Anne immediately. It cuts to Anne's POV again, and we see her combining the stone's power together, which essentially turns her into a god of sorts, but breaks the stones in the process. Not gonna lie, I expect her to turn yellow like Supersonic, considering how much the show likes to reference Sonic, especially with the stones being very similar to the Chaos Emeralds. A white color scheme with star-shaped eyes is still cool though. I like it. I vibe with it. Sprig arrives, pleading with Anne not to do this, how she's his everything and how she changed his life forever, with Anne responding how he changed her life as well. Sprig could feel Anne's determination to finish this, letting her do what she has to do. Anne creates a giant calamity blast from her hand, blowing it right through the core. Though the strain from this blast is so severe, her body is quite literally starting to crack apart, but Anne refuses to give in, allowing the core as well as the moon to be completely blown to bits. Amphibia is now saved once and for all. But at what cost? Anne is on her last legs, her entire skin complexion grayed out and filled with cracks. As she utters her last breaths, she lets everyone know her only regret was never getting the chance to see the movie Love Choice 2. We then see Anne's body blow away into the air, continuing the trend with all three girls having a near-death experience during a season finale. Sasha in season 1, Marcy in season 2, and now Anne for the series finale. After the screens fade to black, we see Anne wake up in some kind of small planetoid with a house, the Planter family sign, and her signature tennis racket sticking out of the bottom. This planetoid looking just like the one from the picture inside Anne's room. I can't believe this scene was foreshadowed all the way back in season 3A. Look at all those comets in the sky too. Try to tell me this isn't a reference to the Super Mario Galaxy games. You're just lying if you say otherwise. Anne enters the house to find an old-timey computer inside, pictures of her friends and family, her missing shoe, a domino toy, as well as the Anne doll Sprig gave her for Christmas. The being behind the computer is a cosmic deity who's been watching over the multiverse for eons. They eventually turn into Domino after Anne makes fun of the computer for being old-timey. Remember after Anne's dentist appointment in the episode Adventures in Cat Sitting when she was all drugged up on pain meds, talking about how Domino is the alpha and the omega, a being beyond time and space? That is some five-head foreshadowing if I've ever seen it. This entity tells Anne they not only made a copy of her original body as a backup, but they want to strike a deal with Anne. They want her to take their job as the overseer of worlds. This being created the Calamity Stones to test civilizations to see if they would use them for good or evil, and every single time they were used for evil until Anne came along, that is. Surprisingly, Anne denies the job opportunity, arguing that she's still just a kid who has a lot of growing to do. Her time on Amphibia taught her everyone in life can improve, learn, and change from the experiences they have in life. Sasha and Marcy were no longer stuck in their old ways. Wartwood, an extremely old-fashioned town, accepted Anne as one of their own. If Anne were to take this job, she wouldn't be allowed to live her life anymore and potentially become an even better version of her current self, who's already pretty great to begin with. After hearing this, the cosmic deity realizes the error in their ways, allowing Anne to go back to the world of the living so she can continue to live her life and improve on herself even more than she already has. Fun fact, this cosmic deity is voiced by Charlene Yee, who voiced Ruby in Steven Universe. Funny how we got Jasper's voice actress in All In, and now we have Ruby's in The Hardest Thing. But I guess this means when Anne dies at age 91, she'll become the overseer of the cosmos, the Rosalina of the Amphibia multiverse, if you will. Anne returns to the battlefield, shocking everyone around her that she's still alive, leading into a big group hug between her and her closest companions, as well as learning the deity left behind fractions of the Calamity Stones for Anne with just enough power so she, Sasha, and Marcy can get back to Earth. The hardest thing really is saying goodbye, isn't it? Before everyone did so, the girls were given flower crowns designed around their respective Calamity colors. Marcy says goodbye to Olivia, Ewan, and even Andrias, and Andrias could barely even look her in the eye. You can tell this man truly feels awful for everything he's done to her. Olivia and Ewan also subtly revealing their romantic interest for one another, very high note for that farewell. Sasha and Grimes' goodbye was my favorite, I think. Them trying to keep it professional at the start, only for them to start bawling their eyes out harder than anyone else. Then, of course, Anne's goodbye to the Planters. My heart, it hurts. It hurts so much. I'm so glad those two did their sprint against the world phrase before their little handshake. The final hug with the rotating camera, like, come on, man. After they walk into the portal, a single leaf from Anne's hair is left behind, and they leave their amphibian families behind. We now get a bit of a time skip into the future of Amphibia in particular here. A lot of the ecosystem has been restored to normal again, and it looks like Andrias and Triple B are the main ones helping the environment heal. I want to point out that not only is Andrias using Barrel's Warhammer as a cane, but he's got Leaf's leaf on his hoodie as well as Marcy's pin. He's keeping pieces of all of his loved ones on his person. It's so beautiful. He's also got shackles around him, which I figure he willingly put on himself as a form of penance. He knows he needs to do a lot to make up for what he did, but all in all, he seems pretty happy with the life he's currently living. Wally walks out of Stumpy's just like he did in the first episode, and he runs into a fully grown-up Polly. I like her full frog design a lot. The overalls fit in really well with the agricultural lifestyle of Ortwood. Looks like Bog, Fens, and Meyer started their own moving company. Just seeing the emissaries on it too, good for for them. Maddie opened a pan and potion stand with her little sisters. I'm kind of surprised those girls are still tadpoles though, but whatever. Shame Loggle lost all of his muscles. He didn't deserve that. All it took was one cheat day. Olivia, Yunnan, and Grime arrive in Wortwood together on Joe Sparrow too, and they're greeted by Toadie, who's now the current mayor of Wortwood. I can't believe Toadstool was backing him too. That's amazing. I'm so glad they see each other as equals now, and Toadstool doesn't see Toadie as some lackey. I can't believe Bessie and Joe actually got together and had a sparrow-snail hybrid child. Back at the planter residence, we see Frobo water some plants, specifically Hot Pop's California avocados. His sudden passion for avocados and escape to Amphibia just wasn't a one-time gag after all. My man stuck with it. Polly finds Sprig in the basement of the planter home using the phone Anne gave him to look through her pictures so we can record whatever he sees in his journal. We got ourselves a mini Stanford Pines in the works, folks. Everyone in Wortwood gathers together at the town square for a statue unveiling ceremony, that statue being of Anne Boonchoy, holding a sword in one hand and the calamity box in the other. Ending this POV with Ivy telling Sprig there's a new continent that's been discovered, untouched by frog, newt, or toad, and Sprig happily agreeing to go on this adventure with Ivy after taking a good look at Anne's statue. Now for the girls' POV. This is a time skip 10 years in the future. Sasha arrives at the airport to pick up Marcy. While Marcy is walking, we can see she has little figurines of Sakura from Naruto, Bakugo from My Hero Academia, and a little blue newt magnet. Not sure who the bird is supposed to be. If anyone's got an idea for the bird, let me know in the comments below. It's also the 10-year anniversary of the day Andrias invaded Earth, so perfect time for these three to meet up again. We get a good look at what both of them look like now at age 23. Sasha in particular is wearing a leather jacket that has a sash of her two heron swords. That combined with Marcy's little newt, it's clear their time on Amphibia still means a lot to them even after 10 years. During their drive, it pans to the back seat with birthday gifts, which are actually meant for Anne. It's kind of funny how her revival after the Corps' defeat is considered her new birthday. Sasha's also got the bi-flag colors in the shape of a heart, as well as the sticker of the guitar she used in the episode Battle of the Bands on her rearview mirror. Sasha's bisexual confirmed. Let's go! For their careers, Marcy is revealed to be a webcomic artist and Sasha's a child psychologist. Sasha also says she and Anne kind of drifted apart once high school started, falling into different friend groups and such. They still talked, just not nearly as often as in middle school. As for what Anne's been doing this whole time, well, she's working as a herpetologist, aka the profession that specializes in the study of amphibians. The girl who used to get queasy whenever she looked at frogs in middle school now studies them for a living. What a world. She even built a mini Wortwood for her little Sprig. I can't, man. I just can't. The main episode concludes with Sasha and Marcy showing up to Anne's work with their gift bags where they give each other hugs before going out together to celebrate. If this show has taught us anything, is that change can be scary, but everyone goes through it. Friend groups can drift apart, but that doesn't mean the people in said friend groups don't care about each other anymore. These three are a perfect example of that. Sure, Anne and Sasha didn't talk as much in high school, but the experience these three went through were so incredibly significant, it's quite literally impossible for them to straight up not care about one another anymore. And this time script proved that. Even the end credits, dude, you know, all their signature weapons on the hill outside Newtopia, the top of Toad Tower, concluding with an updated picture of the three BFFs on a table with drinks colored after their Calamity Stone colors. Thank you everyone who stuck with me on this journey of content on my channel. Huge thanks to Matt and the crew for changing my life forever for the show, really. I do want to say that soon I'll be on a podcast with Sarcastic Chorus on his second channel to discuss the final events of Amphibia some more, and the creator of Amphibia Abridged Tomato Sauce will be doing a thank you send-off video of sorts about Amphibia that I believe I'll be partaking in as well, so look forward to that. Let me know in the comments below what Amphibia meant to you, what you thought of this finale, and if there's any details I might have missed out on. I'd love to know your thoughts. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps out a ton. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.